This is Drewsif82 and PraetorCrash00 talking about the estate tax. I want to make a quick correction. My information was wrong. They did not decrease it. It actually was changed. It's still $5 million at 35% for an estate tax. I don't think that's any better, just so I'm saying. And the reason I say that is to go on to Drewsif's point, is that the government, you don't owe the government anything for your success. And saying that because you were successful, the government gets a pound of flesh is idiotic at best. I mean, it's just a horrible argument to say that your success means that they get to have a piece of it, because in some way your success only exists because of their existence. I'm sorry. None of the elected officials, and when I'm later in life, I have no doubt that most of the officials elected today will not be in office by the time that
Praetor, how is this any different than, how is this any different than La Cosa Nostra or the Mafia saying, I'll let you operate in my neighborhood, but you got to kick upstairs?
It's true. It's true. It's a very good analogy.
How is that any different?
But it's very true.
Thank you, sir. Hat in hand. Thank you, sir, for allowing me the privilege of earning on your street corner.
and exactly. And then also the problem is this is a discussion that brought it up, which is why I think they didn't lower it. They were talking about farmers and ranchers. A lot of those guys don't make that much money annually.
Oh, those guys are getting squeezed out.
Their land, the thousands of acres they own, are worth way more than that. They just can't sell it because then they don't have a job. They don't have income. But the problem is they're not making that much. Their income isn't that grandiose. They're not driving Bentleys down the street.
No.
They're driving four pickup trucks.
They have a lot of overhead.
But unfortunately, they say, oh, you have a lot of land. Your assets are worth $5 million. Well, guess what? We get a third of that. Because
those assets are tied up. I mean, they have a tremendous amount of overhead.
Exactly, and that's the problem is people don't realize that's not right. If you have a farm, a lot of these are passed down to the family. We can talk for another segment one time on talking about how family farms and ranches are going away and due to big agri and things like that. But that aside, doing this is perpetuating that problem. There isn't going to be big land passes on when it comes to ranches or farms because you can't afford it. If you're worth over $5 million, you've got to sell your land to pay the tax burden because your dad died at an inopportune time. Oh, Ray, hey, I'm sorry you're grieving right now, son, but can you give us a check for about $3 million? That's what your land's worth. Oh, you only make $60,000? Well, here's a tax lien, and we're going to take it anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Well, this is what we come to. And this, like I said, we can lock it all the way back to the beginning of the entire segment about property rights. They don't really exist in this country anymore. They did at a time where when you bought land, it was yours. And if people were on your land, they weren't supposed to be, heck, you could shoot them.
No.
If you said, get off my land, you weren't there. That'd be it. I mean, it's on. And they're done. Nowadays, no. You have to purchase the privilege, or as you said, making the government have to be the mafia. Best analogy you made, and that it's so true. You have to pay for the privilege of owning your land.
Yeah, you got to kick upstairs to the boss.
Exactly. It's ridiculous. And to claim that we're the freest country on earth when we can't even actually own property, or we can't even pass on our success to our family, it's disgusting. It's hard for me to say anything other than it's just disgusting. It's deplorable. It's morally repugnant. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
I have nothing else to say about it.
Yeah. No, I share your sentiment and your disgust. But what to bring it back to what I was really getting at with the inheritance tax and estate tax, is I truly think that it is. I think it stifles upward mobility, and I think there's an agenda there. I think there is. I mean, when you start to impose stuff like this, which you can't have inherited wealth, and I think that well, first of all, I think it's totally flies in the face of just natural law. I mean, if you own something, you own something, and what gives a government or a bureaucrat the authority to say that that they can take it from you, first of all, and then secondly, I shouldn't even say secondly. It's just I think it inhibits our ability to rise up as a people and to be formidable and to pose any sort of threat to the elite that seem to find a way to exempt themselves from the same laws as the citizenry.
I agree. Well, let's keep talking about this in our next segment.